historic human remains found in Nipigon at the site of the new National Marine Conservation Area headquarters. Good evening and thank you for joining us. We got some breaking news at this hour regarding an archaeological discovery out of Nipigon.
Parks Canada officials are confirming that human remains were found last week, which could date back more than 4 centuries. The discovery was made on May 21st at the site of the future National Marine Conservation Area headquarters.
Red Rock Indian Band's on-site environmental monitor identified additional remains being uncovered at the construction site, which have now been confirmed to be the remains of an adult Indigenous male believed to have lived prior to the 17th century.
According to Parks Canada, work stopped immediately when the remains were discovered and the relevant authorities were alerted. The Ontario Coroner's Office made the determination that the remains were those of an Indigenous male they estimate would have lived there sometime before the 1600s. The work stoppage will continue as the area is assessed.
Depending on what's found, additional archaeological monitoring and/or environmental monitoring might be needed. Parks Canada is currently working with relevant authorities and Indigenous groups to assess the significance and the proper handling of the discovery.
No more information about the discovery is available at this time. It's the second time this month that work has been stopped at the site of the $37 million facility. On May 8th, a bone was discovered, but it was later confirmed not to be human. Excavation work then resumed, with an environmental monitor hired to oversee the project.
More than $4 million in housing funds could soon be restored to the Thunder Bay DSAB. The money was supposed to have come from the Housing Accelerator Fund, but it was withheld due to a spat between Ottawa and the province. That all changed yesterday when the two senior levels of government announced they have come to an agreement and will be unlocking the $357 million transfer. Earlier this month, the DSAB had decided to draw on reserve funds and delay some capital projects in order to maintain local housing stocks due to the $4.2 million funding shortfall. The agreement is a big relief for DSAB CEO Bill Bradica. He says that although he had been optimistic, the agreement came much sooner than he expected. However, there are new stipulations on how the money must be spent, and it's not yet clear what that will mean for the DSAB.
There still is that uncertainty. It's a little uncomfortable not knowing exactly. I think cautiously optimistic that we will get the $4.2 million. What it can be used for exactly is I think what we're waiting on.
New measures highlighted in the joint statement from Canada and Ontario include new supply targets, directing funding to new builds, and improved data collecting and reporting. Bradica says a focus on new housing projects is much needed, but says it could come at the cost of maintaining existing stock if the overall funding envelope isn't increased.
Yesterday marked the 12-year anniversary of the major rainstorm that led to widespread flooding and sewage backups across Thunder Bay.
A class action lawsuit was later filed against the city due to the critical failures at the local sewage treatment plant. After years of delays, the trial is expected to finally go ahead next year. Jonathan Wilson reports.
The class action lawsuit is seeking $300 million for around 3,000 people who experienced property damages from the 2012 flood and sewage backups. Lawyers with the Toronto firm Kim Spencer McPhee had originally predicted the case would head to trial in 2018. That date was pushed back several times and was expected in 2022, then 2023, but it still hasn't happened.
And we are confident that we should be moving to have the trial heard in 2025.
Lawyer Megan McPhee believes the class action will be tried here in Thunder Bay, with the proceedings lasting several weeks. The major flood on May 28, 2012, overwhelmed the Atlantic Avenue wastewater treatment plant, causing sewage to back up into homes and businesses, mainly in the East End. 5 homeowners are acting as the representative plaintiffs. McPhee admits their clients are frustrated by the 12-year wait, but says that time span is not unusual for a class action.
We have been committed to this case all the way through. Our clients are committed, our experts are committed. So we understand the frustration, but I hope that people also understand the commitment level from our side, from our plaintiffs, from the council team, and in pushing ahead to get the strongest case possible.
McPhee says the holdups are mainly due to courts being backed up during the pandemic. But she says there's also a lot of information to gather and produce, and claims the city still hasn't provided sewer modeling data. Her firm has retained experts to keep things moving along.
So we have been working with the city to try to speed up the documentary discovery, obtaining modeling documents and production sewer data. It's a process that we believe that we are very near to the end of. And so the focus really has been on moving the case forward and getting ready for trial next year.
City officials are declining comment on the class action at this time. Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
A 27-year-old man has been charged for child pornography after Thunder Bay police searched a Grenville Avenue home yesterday. Kyle Placken is accused of possessing, accessing, and distributing child pornography. Police began investigating him after being made aware that he was trying to share the material in November of last year. Placken has appeared in court and remains in custody. Anyone with information that can help investigators in this case is asked to contact Thunder Bay Police or Crime Stoppers.
A new report from Royal LePage is highlighting the most affordable cities in Canada, and Thunder Bay tops the list.
As CTV's Craig Krause tells us, many Canadians in big cities are considering moving to a more affordable location.
Affordability here in the city of Vancouver has been a problem for many years now, but it's really coming to light in this new report from Royal LePage. And what it found is that not a single city in the entire province cracked a top 15 list of the most affordable cities in the entire country. And they also polled a lot of people here in the greater Vancouver area, and 45% said that they are considering packing up and leaving the province and going east. And the one city that they're eyeing is Edmonton, and I know a lot of Canucks fans might not be too happy to hear that, but again, Edmonton is the one spot that they are eyeing right now. And I mentioned off the top there about the 15 cities that did crack that list, and what that includes is at the top of that list is Thunder Bay, with the average home selling for around $299,000. And when it comes to a mortgage payment, that's about 22% of the average household income in the city of Thunder Bay. And that list also has about St. John or Red Deer, also some places in Quebec as well. And as I mentioned, Edmonton all cracking that top 5, 6 of that list. But again, BC not seeing a single community in the entire list that came out this morning in that study by Royal LePage. But when I asked the CEO about that this morning, she told me that Kelowna was the most affordable place in the entire province when it comes to medium income and having to pay a mortgage.
And that was CTV's Craig Krause reporting. The council table in Nipigon is full once again.
A pair of township councillors resigned this spring, and 2 newly appointed council members were sworn in last night. Justin Hardy reports.
Nipigon's 2 newest council members officially started their term in office after being sworn in at their first council meeting Tuesday night. Anne-Marie Cartwright and Greg Harper were both appointed to town council following the sudden resignations of Gordon McKenzie in late March and Catherine Sakamoto at the end of April. Nipigon Mayor Suzanne Kuko says she's excited to have the new councillors begin their duties and looks forward to having a more complete and effective council.
It feels wonderful to have a full council again. It's been quite a few weeks now where we've just had the 3 of us. There's a bit of pressure because that is quorum. So if one of us is unable to attend or is sick or something like that, we don't have quorum, we don't have a meeting.
Both councillors are coming into the job with a goal in mind. They each say that there are issues in the community that they want to deal with.
I'm on the Economic Development Committee too, and one of the things that we're really looking at is finding more ways for finding more housing for people in Nipigon. There are a lot of people, I know just from talking to people at my store, they come in, they'd love to live in Nipigon, but there's no place for them to live.
Cartwright is also a local business owner who hopes to represent the working class of the community. Greg Harper has served on previous councils for 20 years.
I'm passionate about the roads and our infrastructure, because that's one of the first things the citizens deal with on a daily basis. And so I like to see some of our roads fixed up and some of our infrastructure and stuff.
The 2 new councillors will serve until the end of the current council term in 2026. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
Lakehead University officially installed Jillian Siddall as its 8th president and vice chancellor this morning, with a ceremony on Anamkiwaju, also known as Mount McKay. LU Chancellor Rita Shelton Deverell had the honors of making it official.
In the name of Lakehead University, I now install you, Jillian Siddall, in the office of the President and Vice Chancellor of the University, and I invest you with the authority and charge you with the responsibility pertaining to that office.
After the installation, Siddall was bestowed with a robe, hat, and sash that acknowledged the Indigenous peoples and their traditional lands that the Thunder Bay and Orillia campuses are located on. Siddall took on the role on July 1st of last year, and in her speech said that she felt honored and privileged to have the responsibility as president. She added that while the post-secondary sector has faced a number of serious challenges recently, she's confident that Lakehead will pull through.
I have a deep well of hope and optimism for what lies ahead for Lakehead University. When faced with change, we must innovate and evolve. I have every confidence in this incredible community's ability to do just that. Each day, each conversation I have with students and members of our faculty and staff, I am invigorated by the passion that you bring to this community and to the commitment you have shared to our future.
LU's convocation ceremonies will be held tomorrow and Friday at the Community Auditorium.
The local United Way offered an impactful experience today, aimed at raising awareness about living below the poverty line in Thunder Bay.
A poverty simulation called Living on the Edge was held at the Urban Abbey to spark a conversation and explore new ways to make a difference in our community. Jaden Billick has the story.
Poverty is a complex issue in Thunder Bay. So in order to understand the issue in all of its complexities, organizers from the United Way have created a poverty simulation. It's designed to provide the 60 participants a first-hand glimpse into the daily struggles faced by families in low-income situations.
So the aim of the workshop is to try and foster empathy and understanding. And so as an example, Literacy Northwest wanted their coordinators to have a real sort of first-hand glimpse of what some of their clients might be facing. And that's so that they can better serve those clients because they have some understanding of the kinds of situations and predicaments that they may be encountering.
The United Way, in collaboration with Literacy Northwest, hosted the simulation at Urban Abbey. Participants were given a fake role with a predetermined summary of their financial situation, experiencing the challenges of paying bills, finding work, buying groceries, and even locating childcare services. Councillor Brian Hamilton took part in the simulation.
Well, our scenario, we're a family, and we have a teenage daughter that works part-time. She's also in school, and we have a mother-in-law that has to get to chemo. I am unemployed, and so I sometimes don't have transportation, so I'm actually stuck at home a lot. So I'm already, I've only been here for 45 minutes, and I can tell you, it's activated my empathy to a huge degree.
The event helped the participants sympathize with these families in these very real situations. Following the simulation, a debriefing session was held to reflect on the experiences amongst the chaos and explore ways to make a positive impact for those who live these barriers day to day.
The scenario I would best use to describe how eye-opening this has been was when Caitlin was at work for what felt like the longest 3 minutes of her entire life, only to come back, work $50, not get paid, get robbed $20, and to see that her entire family has been evicted. I can't imagine, in a scenario it may be funny or it may seem laughable, but I can't imagine a 15-year-old girl having to go through something like that on her own.
Organizers say they wish to expand on this project as the feedback provided by event goers was very positive. Jaden Billick, TBT News.
This week is National Accessibility Week. So to honor those with disabilities in the community and acknowledge their contributions, the Municipal Accessibility Committee held a flag raising at City Hall. This week is recognized from May 26th to June 1st and highlights the ongoing efforts to become a more accessible and disability-inclusive country. This year's theme is Forward Together, Accessibility and Inclusion for All, and emphasizes the need to work together to create a barrier-free country. Committee Chair Samantha Zarobin spoke about the importance of this week.
People with disabilities just want to be an ordinary person, to being able to do everything that everyone else does. So this week is important to us to show people what we can do and how inclusive Canada can be.
We have a Municipal Accessibility Advisory Committee who advises the city administration on how to remove barriers for people with disabilities in our community, just to ensure that people with disabilities are able to contribute and get to work.
Well, it was a beautiful day to have a flag raising, even though there maybe wasn't too much wind there?
Yeah, a little extra wind probably would have made it a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah,
You've seen that flag unfurl beautifully. And that's because for most of the day, the winds were 4 to maybe 10 kilometers per hour. It's only been in the last hour or so that the winds have kicked up to 31 kilometers per hour. Otherwise, throughout the day, it was sunny. There wasn't a whole lot of wind. It was crisp to start. We had a low of 2 first thing in the morning, but lots of sunshine, and we topped out with a high of 20. And that sunshine was felt through most of the region. At this hour, we've just got a few clouds to the west, but daytime highs are in the low 20s in Red Lake, Sioux Lookout. They're at 21, 20 in Fort Francis, Dryden, Atikokan, up into Armstrong, and then we get into high teens in Greenstone. Along the lake shore, you can see it's definitely a bit cooler. Marathon at 13, 10 in Wawa, even Grand Portage is at 12 at this hour. Sault Ste. Marie just 13, and they're usually one of the hot spots, and they've got lots of sunshine north of Lake Superior and to the east. So it all depends on where that wind is coming from. Here in the city of Thunder Bay tonight, we're going to slip down to 4 Celsius overnight tonight. Clear skies make for a cooler night, but that just makes it beautiful to sleep with the window open and get it just nice fresh air overnight. As we head into the second half of the week, if you liked today, well, good news. Tomorrow is just a repeat. It's just ditto, ditto, ditto. Sunshine, light winds, things are looking beautiful, and temperatures hitting pretty close to the 20-degree mark, which is right normal for this time of year. And you need to enjoy it because we're looking at increased clouds for Friday and even some possible rain to wrap up the week, but just a little bit of rain is always a good thing. Got the sunshine, then a little bit of rain. That's going to get things growing even more. Hopefully not too much. My front yard, I haven't gotten my lawnmower fixed yet, and my front yard is a little bit of a jungle. My apologies to my neighbors. I will be taking care of it this weekend, I promise.
Well, you know what? If there's dandelions on it, it's good for the bees. So
there we go.
There
That
we go.
explains the
Save
fat
the bees.
bees I've had in my yard the size of my thumb.
Yep, there we go. That's why. Thank you so much, Fiona. Well, when we come back, we will turn our attention to the fate of former President Donald Trump, which is now in the hands of a jury. And there are 7 men and 5 women that make up those jurors. And we'll have more details on that as your Wednesday News Hour continues.
Trump has denied it all and once again ranted about the trial and complaining about waiting in a cold courtroom while the jury deliberates his fate.